Okay, everyone, coach is here. Go ahead and hit the raise hand feature and we'll get started with questions. Greg Hunter, you're up first.
Bob, just general statements coming out of Wednesday. Again, you've had 48 hours to reflect on it. So what'd you see, you liked, you didn't like?
Well, it's amazing that we actually had a chance to win the game. We gave up 60 points in the paint, which has never happened before in my career, I don't think. 23 lay-ins. This is absurd to give up that many. And they got 25 fast break points, which obviously stopping a fast break was a vital part of what we talked about to be able to do to win the game. And they got 23 points off our turnovers, and we've turned the ball over at an alarming rate. So.
John Antonic.
We could be safe to say that most of your concerns were execution and not effort. I'm assuming that the effort's there for you.
It could be better.
Okay.
It could be better. You know, John, for the majority of the time that I've been in coaching, our guys were so committed to guarding their guy, and they were so committed to it was a true battle, me against you, and we haven't got there yet, and that's my fault, our coaching staff's fault. We've got to do a better job of demanding that.
Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, just kind of wondering, you guys are obviously played, this will be your fifth game coming up away from Morgantown. A majority of your games could end up being on the road this year. Just kind of wondering, playing this many games on the road, big picture wise, does it maybe help in the long run? And just your thoughts on, playing so many games away from home and obviously what is a weird year.
Well, obviously, Justin, what makes the difference if we're not going to be allowed to have fans here? The Coliseum, going back to before I even played here, when I would come down with my dad to see a game, it was a great home court advantage. The student body has always been really good. Our fans, and I think it's grown. Our fan base has grown and grown and grown, and it's been great for our basketball program, but it's also been great for Morgantown. It's been great for the economy. And you put 14,000 people in here, and generally they stop and get a bite to eat, or a milkshake or something. And I mean, we miss that. I mean, and so I don't usually I want to play as many as I can play here so that our fans can see us play. But now it's kind of it doesn't matter really.
So I guess in a sense, it makes more sense to play on the road in that way of thinking, I guess.
Well, Justin, for years and years and years, I mean, we've talked about boosting the economy, and I mean, certainly that hasn't happened now. I think we pick and choose too much. And we were supposed to have 2,800 fans in there, and it's a 14,000 seat arena. And I mean, I know I'll get, there'll be people take shots at me saying, well, you really don't care about the virus, which is absolute BS, because I've done more, obviously, You know, you look at our guys are playing because they've done the right thing. They've stayed home. They've done everything that's been asked of them and more. So that obviously isn't true.
Charles Montgomery.
Coach, you spoke highly of him after Wednesday night's game, but Isaiah Cottrell, you also said he was going to pick up playing time. And so moving forward with his time that he played Wednesday, do you think you've been able to maybe expedite that process of putting him in more earlier on this season?
Well, I mean, it's all a situation thing. I mean, and Isaiah, we've got to play him because we've got to continue to help boost his confidence because he's very, very skilled. There's absolutely no question he's the most skilled of our bigs. That being said, it's hard to take a guy who's averaging a double-double and set him down, which Derek is. Derek has been, I don't know, I haven't seen everybody, but I got to think he's been one of the better players in our league, if not the best player in our league. So, we're trying to do the right thing, and I know the right thing is to continue to get Isaiah playing time and continue to help him with his confidence and his knowledge of what's supposed to go on. And as I think as that continues to progress, certainly he's going to become more and more of a factor.
Back to John.
Well, I have two. That was just a follow up to that. On the flip side, you've had to play him because Oscar's not been able to stay on the floor with foul trouble. That's part of it too, right?
Yeah. I mean, Oscar's been put in a one. If we're going to play two bigs, John, which if we're going to score the ball, I think that's what we got to do. But he's been forced really to go out on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a year ago more people played two bigs, so you could play Derek and Oscar at the same time.
Which kind of segs into this because the 5 minutes or 10 minutes I've studied Georgetown, Pickett is that kind of guy, right? He's a perimeter type guy, 6'8". Don't really know much about him. They have only played 2 games, but they've got a flipped around roster, got a late start. What do you know about him?
Well, they're pretty much perimeter oriented. I think, John, I think that's seemingly the wave of the future is 1 big and 4 perimeter guys. But when you have bigs like we have, you gotta use them. I mean, look what Derek's averaging a double-double. Oscar is just now starting, I think, to get back into and be the Oscar that we saw a year ago. And I think that's a heck of an advantage for us.
A little ironic, though, their coach is Patrick Ewing, and they got Louis Orr on their staff, and they're playing guard-oriented.
Hey, man, you know what everybody learns when they go from taking a uniform off and sitting in the first chair?
What's that?
Just trying to win, man. Trying to win. It doesn't, what position there is or whatever, you're gonna try to put the 5 guys out there that gives you the best opportunity to win.
Yeah.
Ryan Pritt.
Hey, Bob. You mentioned their perimeter. It seems like their guards rebound it really well, though. I know they've got a couple averaging 7 a game, I think. They're plus 11 per game. I know it's only 2 games, so it's a limited sample size. But do you think that's among the biggest keys for you on Sunday? And, rebounding something you've hung your hat on for a long time. How would you assess your guys' rebounding through 4 games?
It's pretty much saved us. We gave up 60 points in the paint, 60, and that wasn't second chance points, a few, but the majority of it was people driving a ball in the lane. And it's everybody's driving the ball because you drive the ball and you get bumped a little bit, it's a foul. You drive the ball into everybody's driving the ball in the lane. Everybody's ball screening in the middle of the floor. and I think a lot of that is dictated by the ability to get to the foul line.
Cody Nesper.
Hey, Coach. So you just mentioned that you're seeing less teams use two bigs. I was just wondering, do you think that's people adjusting to play you, or like you said, is that just kind of the prevailing style nowadays?
Well, I think it's the prevailing style, but I also think, we're not playing two stiffs. Those two guys are good players. And I think, why I think guys have decided, why would you put two guys out there who really can't score it? I mean, they take up space with their size. They make it harder for the other team to score over. But they can generate more offense by putting a guard out there or somebody who can make shots.
So then, I guess, are you willing then, if that becomes a problem in a game, are you willing then to sacrifice size for a better perimeter guy, or would you want to keep doing what you guys are good at?
You don't know me very well, do you? I'm gonna try to win, man. Whatever we need to do, that's what we're going to do. I'm not big on having to pat guys on the tail and play guys because they're pouting that aren't going to help us win games. Never have been.
If anyone doesn't have any further questions, Justin, you will be the last. If you do, hit your raise hand, please.
Coach, just kind of wondering what you're seeing from Emmitt. I'm sure you'd probably like to see him rebound a little bit more, but his overall game, what are you seeing from him so far? And then a second question on Georgetown. But both teams are shooting right around 40% from the field. This looks like this could be like a really kind of a big defensive game. Just kind of wondering what you see in that facet as well.
Well, let me address the second one first. I think part of our problem, Justin, is that we haven't passed the ball very well. You look at how many times we've turned the ball over. We've turned the ball over at an alarming rate. I'll give you a stat here. If I can find it. Here it is. 3 or less passes, we were 15 for 36. 4 or more passes, we shot 60%. We only passed it 4 or more times, 5 times in the game. That's alarming. We got to pass the ball. We've missed open guys. We hold the ball too much. Obviously, we dribble the ball too much. And it's a fine line in that you don't want to destroy their confidence, in what they can do, but at the same time, they've got to do what it takes to win games, and they've been told pass the ball more. They're going to pass the ball, or they're going to be in a position not to have the ball, so they can't pass. So we won't have to worry about them passing it. And your first question, Justin, was?
Well, Emmitt, just what you're seeing there. I'm sure you'd probably like to see him rebound the ball a bit better, but does he need to be a little bit more aggressive offensively as well?
It's hard to be aggressive when you don't get the ball.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at Derek's numbers, and primarily Derek's scoring off the offensive glass. We're not throwing it to Derek as much as we need to throw it to Derek. We're not throwing it to Oscar as much as we need to throw it to Oscar. and primarily the passes that each one of them are receiving is from the other one.
It's from the other big, yeah.
So, I mean, think about what I just said, though. I mean, what you look at our shots, and again, 36 field goal attempts, 3 passes or less. That's not good offense. I mean, particularly when you're not making the shots.
Yeah.
So we've got to get that part taken care of. I think everybody realizes we have the ability to be a really good team. But in saying that, I mean, we got to do what's right and do what's productive.
Greg Hunter, you're up.
And Cody, back to your question, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, you're going to play people who are productive. And obviously you don't play people who aren't, my dad told me a long time ago, I sat on the bench a little bit here when I was a sophomore, and my dad called me and he said, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing? He said, well, you're sitting on the bench. I said, yeah. So I started giving an excuse. You know what he said to me? Hey, boy, if you want to play more, play better. The better you play, the more you're going to play. It's really pretty simple. He said that and hung up. And that's a reality. I mean, we're not going to play bad players.
Hey, Bob, in terms of Sean McNeil, he hasn't really found a rhythm yet. Do you still think that that's there? What are you talking to Sean about?
Well, I think some of it's mechanics. I think some of it is they're guarding him pretty good, and he's taken some forced shots. He's frustrated. He's frustrated because he said, I make them in practice and I can't make them in the game. Well, we've got to get him better shots. And I think if we get him better shots and he makes shots early, I think he'll make shots. But mechanically, he's got some things that he started doing that are not things that he has done before. So we got to get that straightened out. But it wouldn't take very long because he hadn't done them that much. It hasn't been done enough to become a habit.
John Antoniuk.
Yeah, last thing for me, and it's along those lines, is the poor passing. Is that a product of Sean's difficulties because of the poor passing? They're not getting the ball in the right areas where he can shoot it, that type of thing?
Well, if your TV, shows the whole screen thing, you can see when we bring the ball down the floor, we've got guys standing open and we continue to dribble.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's that kind of problem. I think it's a problem. We don't deliver the ball. We don't deliver the ball on time. We don't deliver the ball in an area where he can shoot it. A lot of somebody being a good shooter is getting a good pass.
Yeah.
If you got to field it off your knees, it's tough. Anytime you have to turn your hands over, it's a tough shot. It's really a tough shot. And if your bigs have to turn your hands over, ordinarily they just knock it down. They don't catch it. They knock it down. It's kind of like, John, when you were a little kid, and the first time you went out there to play pitch and catch with your dad or your uncle or your neighbor or whatever, you didn't, if they threw you a low ball, you bent your knees and tried to catch it like a catcher would so you could keep your glove turned up. You didn't want
I was two hopping him to my dad and had to chase him down the street all the way across the highway.
Well, it's because you kept turning if you turned your glove under, you probably didn't catch it.
Yeah.
That's generally what happens. And it's the same with what we're talking about. Though where you're going to catch it with your hands up, not turn your hands over. And we throw too many balls that, if they were pitchers, they'd be throwing a lot of them in the dirt.
Who would you say your best passers? Gabe and maybe Derek? Who are your best passers right now out on the floor?
Well, the thing about Derek, if you don't catch it, it'll probably hurt you.
Yeah, it's coming hot.
Yeah, it's coming hot. Yeah. So I'm not sure you would characterize that as a good passer.
He reversed the ball a couple of times in the other game and you guys got good shots out of it.
Yeah, you know, but when you catch it and then you hold it in one hand, you kind of shake off the burn of the hand. It's probably not a,
So gay, Ben.
no, it's probably not a real good deal. It's, I'm surprised we haven't stoved a thumb or two yet trying to field his passes. But
So gay, Ben.
yeah, yeah, well, Gabe's become a shooter, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
He's become a shooter now, so we're just, when we put time in, man, we've been on a toss back. We've done a lot of stuff. It hadn't helped it to this point, but it will.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
Coach, I think that's it for today. I appreciate your time. Thanks to all the media for calling in, and we'll talk to you Sunday in Georgetown.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.